Welcome to Retro Scale Modelling. This is part 7 of the Airfix Avro Vulcan B.2 build, scale 172. In this part I'll be dealing with a little bit more into structure, putting on the struts inside the main fuselage. Also I'll be placing on the main wing and attaching the cockpit. I had a few difficulties with this part of the build, so let's have a look at this. So starting on the top part of the wing, before I go on, I'm having to remove the location points there. So I'm just going to snip them off. And the reason why I'm moving these, of course, is because I'm not using the other half of the wing, so these points are not necessary. So I'm going on to paint this part. I'm going to have to paint a little bit of this as well, because this will be showing. So it's Umber 130 white. This will take 1 or 2 coats. The main framework for the wing's done. I've got to extend the framework for here, one for the tail and one going up to the cockpit, and particularly this bit here. So when I was doing this, I traced each individual one out on a piece of paper to give me a template. So here they are here, and I'm just going to cut these out and see what one gives me the best height for it to fit into here. So I've cut out my template and just drawn the pattern that I want here. So I'm just going to cut it out now. So I've got it to that, and on to the curved part. And to cut a curve, you simply take the corner and cut the corner. Then each straight bit, corner bit, you make another cut. Now it starts forming a curve. Now obviously, as you get near your line, that's when you file it down to your line, and you should get your desired curve. So I've cut my arch, taken a column off so it will fit where the fuselage actually is attached. So now I'm just painting the struts aluminium. That's 99 aluminium. And I'm using Tammy's Weather Master Series D and the burnt red component here to weather up the aluminium look. And this is what I use for all the struts and so forth. Putting in the support beams for this middle section. So the framework will be similar to the cockpit here. So next one goes in. This is a little bit more trickier because the only contact point at the moment is at the top here. I'll just rest on there and hopefully that'll go back in alignment. I put a pencil there just to hold the other one in place. And the last one on the opposite side, I put an eraser there, same as the pencil, to hold the other one in. But this is also going to hold up this. If I can get into position. So I've laid across the arches, but I'm going to form the arches. And I'm going to put them in like that. And I'll do the same again for the other two. So I've decided to add a fourth. So I've taken the wing off that I'm not going to be using. So I've got here and bend, so I'm going to bend this over fit into here, and I'm simply just want to pull it down to about the height that I need. I'll have to think about this because this is not working. Yeah, I'm going to keep it like that. This is not going to meet the curve, but I'll put a branch over to hold it, so it's like that. So I'm just going to put a bit of glue, just move it back into place. So I'll use that as a template to make sure I've got the curve right. So that's all the 4 ones pulled down. I'm not 100% happy with it, truth be known, but I'll persevere and see if I can get it looking okay. So I've taken a bit off the excess of the tail end there, and I'm sanding this down to around about a 45-degree angle on the tape. This is so it can arch over, connect over to the arch. So I put the cross beams in all of them. Just supported by various plasticine and whatnot. So once it's all dry, I'll see what it's like. So I'll take the clamps in that off now, and that's it. There you can see a frontal view of it. I'm not going to trim these off just yet. I'm going to be putting on the actual wing first, just to make sure that the arches are reaching the top of there. So attaching the wing, just a bit of cement all on the raised areas as well along the edge of the wing. The wing itself is quite easy to line up. Pick your starting point. I used the back of the wing where the flaps and that are, just to get my bearing for placing it on, but you shouldn't have any problem. It will need a few clamps though, just to hold it together. So now it's all clamped, and just having a look see how the arches are on the actual moulding of the top part of the wing. I have to push them up slightly just to connect to the roof, but because they're not 100% set and I've left the tail end on it, that's easily sorted out. So the arches still need a little bit more support on them. So all I'm doing now is taking the excess off once more, right to the supporting bar, and I shall place the excess off that I've cut off and place it on the downward position just to give it a little bit more support. And once that's done, I can then trim off the excess on the underside, and I'm just using my side cutters here to do that. So now I'm just going to be marking the airframe now, well, withering it. So I'm using the Tamiya's Master Series D, and it's the burnt red component, and this just gives it a metallic sheen with a little bit off colour. You don't have to do much. So I've done the top side of the frame, the underside still to be done, but I'm just marking in some lines on this chevron. Now that I've marked up the chevrons, what these lines are for I'm not 100% sure, but they appear on the picture I was looking at. Now I'm using the oil stain and the weather masking D component, and I'm just going over my pencil marks, bedding them in and smudging these marks out a little bit. It's now time to attach the cockpit section to the main body. I should point out the black shadow you see on the screen, that's my lens cover, and it just slightly slipped over while I was doing this, so I do apologise. There's not much I can do about it now, unfortunately. Now this cockpit getting attached to the actual main body, there's not many contact points for it to attach to because the way I'm building the kit, but it does fit really well. But this I'm going to have to hold for quite a while until it sets. Now the cockpit's setting, I'm going onto the tail section, and the base colour is Umbro 87 steel grey, like most of the cockpit and fuselage, which is this colour, apart from the bomb section of course. Now the cockpit's in place, I can put in the final arch. This is the one that I traced out and cut, so it's just a little bit of cement, and this actually gets placed on the join where the cockpit and the fuselage come together. So we can just swing it around, you can see it in there. It's done is a little bit of adjustment, but I'll get it straight before moving on to the next part. So that's it there. And it's the same colour, 87 steel grey for the tail section of this part of the build. Now generally you wouldn't be painting this because it'd be closed up. Because I have it in this opened aspect, you have to paint it. So this part here is the side part for the air intake, and this is getting painted in Umbro 165 medium sea grey. Goes without saying, the colour will be depending on what camouflage pattern that you'll be doing, but I would imagine at this point you know exactly the pattern that you're going for. Once it's painted, it just slips into the recess point here. It can be a little bit tight, so just persevere with it. It should join up inside. Mine didn't do 100%. I did have a little gap, but that was easily sorted out. To fill the gap, it's just a little bit of filler placed in. Now I'm using my own filler here, which is melted down sprue with some glue. People just call it sprue glue. I have a little video showing you how to do it if you're interested in it. It's named How to Make Your Own Filler, so it's self-descriptive really, and it's a very simple process if you've never done it before. I also had the tiniest gap where the air intake is. Now this is not the kit's fault. I'm sure I must have done this while I was putting on the cockpit section. I think I pressed it in too hard and moved the wings slightly. But again, it's easily to sort out with a little bit of filler, and as you can see there, I'm just tidying it up now that I put it in. And now moving on back to the tail and putting in the infrastructure of the tail. So it's just 4 little strips here, and these will be going in the same way as the cockpit. So I'm just bending them around to make them more pliable, first of all. Then I anchored them on, and now once that's dry, I'm just bending them around into the shape that I want around onto the bottom part of the tail wing. So again, I'm just adding a little loop as such with the plastic guard. It can be a little bit tricky to get them to set, just be a bit patient with it. And I'll just carry on doing that down the line. As you can see, the last one to go in is smaller. Just follow the contours and the shape of the tail as you're going down, make them a little bit smaller. But if you fit into the shape of the tail, you don't really have to judge it that much. So there's just one more to go in, but that'll be once the tail section is actually attached. I had a bit of a disaster. I picked up the model and by the struts and managed to break them, so that's going to have to be redone again. So with that in mind, I'll bring part 7 to an end. There's still quite a lot to do, and I'm not going to get all this rebuilt in this part. If you haven't done so already, why don't you check out the playlist and channel for this build log, have a look at what's gone on in the past, or indeed check out the channel for my other builds. If you subscribe to the channel, you'll be notified of all the future updates, including for this build. So hit that like button and of course leave a comment. But for now, thank you all very much for watching. Bye bye.